2025 is right around the corner depending on when you're watching this video, and the old Google Ads strategies which used to work no longer work. So in this video, I'm going to give you 9 new Google Ads strategies which I have personally developed myself over this past year, now spending over 6 figures per month when it comes to Google Ads. But with that, let's go over the first strategy which you should be looking to implement for your own e-commerce brand in 2025, and this is the TPS Account Structure. Now, what the strategy used to be was when you were testing different products, you could only have maybe one Performance Max campaign, or if you wanted to go the standard shopping route, you would just have a standard shopping campaign for testing purposes. Maybe you would have multiple Performance Max campaigns or multiple standard shopping campaigns based around different collections, categories, prizes, etc. However, in 2025, this is something you no longer have to do because of the new Google Ads update, which essentially says as long as the ad rank is high for one of these campaigns, whether it's Performance Max versus standard shopping, the one with the higher ad rank is going to win the auction. So there's no more of overlap or internal competition between a Performance Max and the standard shopping. And this was great news for me because immediately I began testing out this strategy where I was testing out every single product and then launching a Performance Max and a standard shopping campaign with the same exact approach, same settings, etc., to see what worked better for that ad account. And this is one strategy which we are definitely implementing across 70 to 80% of the brands which we handle. But second strategy going into 2025 you want to look into incorporating is the 1-2-1 approach. Now, this 1-2-1 approach essentially says you should have one major shopping campaign or Performance Max campaign, especially if you don't have too high of a budget, 2 search campaigns, one cold traffic search campaign like a dynamic search, one retargeting or branded search campaign, and then the final one within this 1-2-1 should be based around YouTube ads or demand gen. This 1-2-1 approach is basically a split to incorporate the 80-20 rule, which says 80% of your budget should be going towards cold traffic campaigns and 20% should be going towards retargeting. If you have tried a lot of fancy approaches and it's just not working, it's not scaling your brand, then this approach is ideal because it basically applies a simplistic approach to your overall ad account and it makes scaling for the algorithm much easier. Now, you can of course go deeper into this 1-2-1 approach. Once you find something that works, you could change it into a 4-2-1 approach, a 7-2-1 approach by simply adding more Performance Max campaigns or standard shopping based on results and based on how you want to scale the brand as well. Third approach, which you should look into incorporating for your brand, is the non-brand versus brand approach. Essentially, what this approach is you basically put 80% of your budget towards non-brand campaigns and you force your Performance Max campaigns, your standard shopping campaigns, search, YouTube, whatever buying intent campaigns you have launched to go after high quality traffic that's non-branded. And you can do this by simply adding a keyword exclusion. You can fill out a form which lets you actually do this, add exclusions to the PMax directly, and this will force it to now go after only new customers. You can also change the settings within the PMax to go after new customer acquisition only. But very useful strategy. I believe every single brand should be incorporating this. But fourth strategy for 2025 with Google Ads is assets versus feed only. Now, this is a little bit more on the Performance Max only side, but what I'm seeing so many brands do, which I audit under my agency or marketing, which, by the way, if you run a brand doing $1 million a year, you need extra help scaling your brand to the next level, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a free call with me, and let's see if we can potentially work together and make that happen. But what most brands do is they go into their Performance Max campaigns and they basically supply to Google Ads whatever information it asks for. If it asks for 20 different images, these brand owners do exactly that. If it asks for different signals, search themes, they're going to provide a whole bunch of signals and search themes. And not only this, they're going to have 2, 3, 4, 5 asset groups within a Performance Max doing the same exact thing. So what this leads to is a lot of confusion for the algorithm, because think of the asset group section as the ad copy section on Facebook. With Facebook, you have one campaign. Within that one campaign, you have one ad set, and then within that one ad set, you could have 3 ad copies. The reason why you have 3 ad copies is because you want to A/B test maybe a different video creative, maybe a different image, maybe the ad copy itself. With asset groups is the same thing. You don't want to have 5-10 different asset groups and all of them are doing the same exact thing, because this adds a lot of unnecessary budget distribution, which makes scaling a bit more difficult for your campaigns and your account in general. So the best approach here, what I've found, is having maybe 1 or 2 asset groups, where one asset group is an assets only asset group where you have a bunch of images, logos, videos, etc. in there. Another asset group is feed only. So what's happening within this PMX now is these assets groups are competing side by side, and it's going to give you a lot of valuable data as to what works best for your brand. The main goal here is to find the approach which works 80 to 90% of the time, whether it's assets only or feed only, and then from there incorporate it across all of your account. This is how you scale in 2025. But fifth major strategy you should implement going into 2025 when it comes to Google Ads is within the experiment section. Now, if we go into a PMax campaign and go over to experiments right here, we can see that it actually gives you 2 options. You can have all types of experiments in here, and if you click create an experiment, you can create a performance max experiment, demand gen, video, etc. But what we're more interested in is the performance max experiments, because here the main experiment you want to try is, first of all, the target ROAS versus target CPA experiment. This is the bidding strategy experiment where you're trying to understand what bidding strategy works the best for your e-commerce brand. Some ad accounts do better with target ROAS, some ad accounts do way better with target CPA, and the best way to find that is by experimentation. And you want to just do a test uplift experiment with performance max and basically test just that, target ROAS versus target CPA. And this is going to let you know exactly what's working better for your e-commerce brand. And from there, you want to find the winning bidding strategy, which you can then incorporate across all of your other campaign types. That's essentially the main goal here. But this now brings us to the 6th major campaign strategy going into 2025 with Google Ads, and that's the YouTube Ads Smart Bidding approach. Now, I've tested a lot of YouTube campaigns in the past. We've tried target CPA, target ROAS, tried a bunch of different creatives, tried a bunch of different ways to run a YouTube ads campaign, and the results have always been the same. Basically, there's only a certain approach which works when it comes to YouTube ads, and what I want to show you here is exactly that approach. So if we go on over to the campaigns dashboard, for some of the campaigns we have been running when it comes to YouTube ads, I want to go over one major YouTube ad campaign which has worked wonders for us during these past few days and weeks, and that specific video campaign is this one right here. And the second one, which has gotten a lot more revenue, is one that is catching up with the same exact approach. This one in the last 3 days has only generated roughly $7,000. However, it's been running for a very long time and it has consistently provided results. But if we go a bit deeper into this, we can understand exactly what this approach is. Essentially, it's a smart bidding based approach that specifically maximize conversions with no type of target ROAS or target CPA in effect. And the reason why we set it up this way is because we want to give full freedom for this campaign to go out and just find the right kind of audience for us. Keep in mind, the only way this is going to work is if you have the right kind of creatives in place, because just like with Facebook, without proper creatives, YouTube ads don't work, period. Now, beyond creatives, one thing we are doing which is working is we're doing both retargeting as well as cold traffic within an account when it comes to YouTube ads. And this is beneficial because the YouTube ads retargeting traffic campaign now gets a lot of valuable information which the cold traffic YouTube campaign can now use to find more people which are similar to those, which is the main goal here. But essentially, the way you want to lay out your YouTube ad smart bidding campaign is you want to have 3 to 5 different creatives per ad group within your YouTube ads campaign, and you want to ideally make it short based. Now, in this situation for this specific campaign, we had multiple different creatives, 6 total, but we shut out a lot of them and only now are focusing on those that are getting us some decent results, on those that are really scaling us. And if you look right here, the one that's really winning is a YouTube Shorts placement, which is why I believe YouTube Shorts and just having creatives based around that specific placement, based around those dimensions, is what will work going into 2025 when it comes to YouTube ads. But 7th most important kind of strategy you can implement when it comes to Google is the exclusions list. Now, the way to go to this section to actually exclude everything is basically going to the tools section, and then from here under shared library, going to exclusion lists. We don't want to be focusing on negative keywords only, because what we can also exclude is placements. The best way to exclude these kinds of things is to create a list of exclusions, and ideally I like to basically exclude all of the apps in here, because apps in my experience have never really provided any types of decent results and have just wasted a lot of money. And from here you're going to exclude both the app categories for Apple App Store as well as Google Play, and to go a bit deeper, you can also go into things such as YouTube videos and exclude certain YouTube videos. You can exclude certain YouTube channels because a lot of your performance max campaigns or even YouTube campaigns can go after specific channels within your niche. You don't want to just exclude random channels here or random videos. Rather, you want to exclude specific videos and channels which you know your ads could rank on, and this will help add more efficiency to your website as a whole, to your brand as a whole, which is the main goal with this approach. But now moving on to the 8th Google Ads strategy, which you can implement in 2025. This is based around seasonality bid adjustments. Now, seasons change fairly often. There's a lot of new occasions coming up from now when I'm recording this video. It's Q4. Pretty soon, we're going to be in Q1, January, which means we'll have now different season, different occasions to go after. And the section in the budgets and bidding section under adjustments, this is the best way to add seasonality adjustments and to make changes to your brand and to your Google Ads account so that you don't end up wasting a ton of your budget or your profitability as a result. And the way to use this is fairly simple. Essentially, you want to choose between the types of adjustment you want to happen within your ad account. It can be a budget-based adjustment, conversion rate-based adjustment. Ideally, you'd like to go basically around budgets, and you want to make this based around a certain occasion of what you want it to happen essentially. And then from there, you can choose a specific campaign as to how much budget you want that campaign to increase. And you can set a start time, end time, and this is super important. Basically, if you look right here, this is the additional average daily budget amount the campaign will automatically be adding based around the seasonality adjustment. So you want to have this in place, and you want to choose a budget amount which is no more than 20 to 70% of your current budget. So seasonality bidding adjustments, very important strategy in 2025, because now you want to use a little bit more of the algorithm to your advantage. You want to take a lot of the manual control away, especially during the main season. So finally, moving on to our final approach, which you can really implement in 2025 onwards, and this is a standard shopping versus performance max campaign approach. Now, the good thing is there's no more overlap due to the new Google Ads algorithm update, which means now if you are to run the same products within a standard shopping campaign and a performance max campaign, these products will not interfere with each other. They won't try to bid against one another. And this is a good thing, because now the strategy going into 2025 should be you want to implement both a standard shopping and a PMAX campaign for some of your best-selling products or just for testing purposes to see what your ad account responds the best to. Now, this is very important because some ad accounts scale a lot more with smart bidding-based PMAX campaigns. Others do extremely well with standard shopping-based approaches, and you need to figure out with this strategy what works the best for your brand. And the main goal here again is to understand what your brand responds the best to, and then only implement that approach for scaling purposes or for testing purposes. But again, if you run a brand doing $1 million a year, you need extra help now scaling it to 2025 and onwards with Google Ads. Go on to my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a free call with me, and let's see if we can potentially work together and make that happen.